Hi and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you how to make this cute little treat tent using the Spooky Halloween stamp set and products from the suite. This little sweet tent is quick and easy to make and holds a favorite little treat in the cello bag. So let me set this aside and I'll show you how I got started. Okay, I'm going to start with the stamping for this project, so I'm going to bring in my little pup here, ink him up with the memento, and stamp. I'm going to be die cutting this, so I want to leave plenty of room around the outside. And then I'm going to bring in my little designer series paper strip, ink up the image for the sentiment, and I'm going to do that well because I haven't used this one yet. And I'm going to stamp it right here at the bottom of my designer series paper, being careful not to rock. There we go. So I've got my little sentiment and my image, and I'm ready to color my little guy. I'm going to start with my little puppy, so I'm going to bring in my granny apple, and I'm going to take my dark and simply outline some of the areas here to give it a little bit of depth. Let's see, I'm going to go around the ear like so, around his hair. And outline those sections, and then I'm just going to bring in my my light granny apple and finish coloring him in. I'm shading a little bit where I want to blend that, and of course the quicker you move the easier it is to shade. So there you go, I've got that finished, and I'm going to bring his dark in and do his little paws. And I'm ready to move on to the next color. So I'm going to bring in my Petunia Pop, and I'm going to color his little bolt here and his pants. I'm going to bring in the light, and I'm going to do his band on his sleeves and his socks. And then I'm going to bring in my pumpkin pie, and I am going to do his shirt. I'm doing straight coloring for that, and I can add a little bit of shadowing simply by going over those areas that I want to give a little more color to. There we go. I've got that finished. I'm going to bring in my light and do his socks again. That second stripe, and I forgot to do my little bolt here on his side, so I'm going to add that Petunia Pop there on each one of the bolts. I've got him done. I'm going to start with the little sucker here, and I'm going to color this with my daffodil. And then I'm going to bring in my dark daffodil and simply go over that line a bit to add a little bit of interest. So there you go. I've got that finished, and I'm ready to die cut. I've got my die cutting done with my stylish shape, so I've got my two focal points ready, and I'm ready to bring in the treat holder. I've got my basic black cardstock here. I'm going to score at the 1-inch mark, the 5-inch mark, the 5.5-inch mark, and the 6-inch mark, and I'm ready to set this aside. So I am going to fold on my score lines. I'm going to bring down, I'm going to bring up, down, and up again. That kind of creates this little W on the bottom. And I'm going to bring my bone folder in and score on those because I want those creases nice and sharp. and I'm ready to decorate. So I've got the rest of my components here and I'm ready to start building. I'm going to add my Designer Series paper panel here on the bottom. And I'm going to add this Don't Worry Sweet Treats here to the top. And I cut that wrong to begin with, so I've corrected that and made it my 3/4 inch. And bringing it in to adhere. Like so. And then I'm going to bring in the Heartfelt Hexagon punch. I'm going to fold this down. First punch this little divot out of the center. Now I'm just eyeballing this. I've just got the little point and I want to put it about halfway between my sentiment and the edge. Our punches are not designed to go through multiple layers, so I'm going to do this by punching twice. Line that back up. And I'm punching this twice so I don't stress the punch, and it's easier to punch. And I've got this little divot out of the center. At this point, I can bring in my treat bag and about 1/2 cup of M&Ms. These are holiday, so I thought they were kind of fun since they had the orange that we're working with. And I'm going to slide this in to my bag. And let's see how it feels inside my treat holder. I think that's about good. So I am going to fold this up a little bit and slide it through the hole that I created with the punch and line it up. Okay, at this point my treat will stand and I can bring in my ribbon. Now I'm going to use about 12 inches of ribbon here, but I'm going to do it on the bolt so that I've got plenty of flexibility. I'm going to pull tight, and that allows me to kind of shift and move things and then tie my bow. Now you can do this step on its own and then tuck it through, but I find doing it like this allows me to get it exactly where I want it to be, and I don't have to go back. Let's see, I'm going to make this bow a little smaller on this side and tuck this back in. At this point I can trim my ends, and I want these fairly short. See, I'm going to stand that back up so I can see better and so that you can see, because I don't want it to affect that sentiment any more than what it has to. I have a little bit of adhesive on my scissors. It does catch the ribbon, so you need to keep a set of clean snips simply by using a little Goo Gone to remove that adhesive if you get it sticky like I just did. And I've got it in place. Now there's a couple of options here for keeping this latch down. You can adhere it, you can use a couple of glue dots to hold it in place, or you can just leave it as is, maybe with a piece of Velcro. It depends on how you want to use the treat, because you can always pull the treat out the side here also. I'm going to use a little bit of adhesive to hold this down, so I am simply going to add a little bit of tear and tape on each side, right on the edge, like so. Remove and then adhere. And I'm simply going to push that up, level out the sides, and adhere down. So there you go. I've got my treat finished there, and I'm ready to add my focal point. So I'm going to add some Stampin' Dimensionals to this. Just a couple of them, top and bottom. And you could add to the sides if you want to, rather than top and bottom, to allow it to kind of bow, but I want this to bend with the treat, so top and bottom will do it for me. And adhere. And then I'm going to bring in these fun little foam star stickers, and I'm going to place a couple around my image here just for a little bit of sparkle and fun. So I'm going to take the purple ones here, add them to my project. Just moving my eye around, and of course if you wanted to you could add it next to the sentiment also. And adjust that bow as desired. I'm going to pull that and twist so that the ends go a little closer to the top. And of course, when you tie your bow, if you pull the ends in the direction you want them to go, that helps with where they finally end up. So there you go, a cute little treat using the Spooky Halloween stamp set. This is one of our online exclusives that is available in a suite. And of course, if you'd like any of these products, you can stop by my online store, and you can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.